Hi friends, in our previous class we have discussed about the reasons that is behind the dominance of insects. One among those characters that is behind the success of insect was insect's exoskeleton, or otherwise known as insect's integument or the insect's body wall. In this class, let us discuss about insect's exoskeleton. Insect exoskeleton is ectodermal in origin. So what is ectodermal? When the fertilization happens, the male and female gametes, they come together and they make the zygote. After the formation of zygote, the single zygote, it multiplies into numerous cells and ultimately leading to the ball of cells. These ball of cells, they will be differentiated into different layers. That is called as ectodermal layer, which is in the outside, and the endodermal layer is in the inside, and the mesodermal layer will be in between the ectodermal and endodermal. These different layers, they will be producing their own organs. For example, the external cells or the ectodermal layer cells, they will produce the organs of outside, like the integument and the different parts that is located in the integument, and the inside endoderm layers, they will be producing the important internal organs. We will be discussing these things in detail in our insect embryology class. For now, just take it as the insect integument is ectodermal in origin. First, let's understand the structures of insect's exoskeleton, and then we will be moving on how it functions. First, the insect's exoskeleton that we are seeing outside, it may look like single layer, but it is actually different layers that is packed together nicely to make the construction look beautiful. That in the final product, insect's exoskeleton. There are three major components of insect's exoskeleton: the basement membrane, or the single layer of basement membrane. On above the basement membrane, the insect's epidermis is there, and followed by that our insect cuticle is there, which is visible to us in the outside. So the insect's epidermis that secretes the insect cuticle, and the insect epidermis is actually laid on the basement membrane, which is a single layer in which the insect's epidermis is placed. In the insect epidermis, the secretion or the secretory cells are there, which secretes the insect's cuticle that is outside. So the next layer is our insect cuticle, which is also divided into three parts, that is endocuticle, exocuticle and the procuticle. The exocuticle and endocuticle, they are put together and called as a procuticle, and the external layer is known as insect's epicuticle. From the epidermis, the cuticle is secreted, and there are lot of pore canals that is from the epidermis to the all the way to the epicuticle. So these pore canals, they transfer the material that is secreted in the epidermis to all the way to the epicuticle. The major components of epicuticle, like the wax particles and the cement layers, all are shifted from the epidermis to the epicuticle using these pore canals. We can see that the pore canals that is passing through the cuticular layer, that most importantly the procuticle, the exocuticle and the endocuticle, it is having the channels of these pore canals. But when we see the divisions, it happens in the epicuticle, where it is going to secrete the numerous chemicals or the components that is the essential parts of the epicuticle. The cellular component or the living component of the insect's integument is the epidermis. The non-living part or the only the components which doesn't have the cellular components are the cuticle layer. So this is about the whole structure of the insect's integument or the insect's exoskeleton, or otherwise known as insect's body wall. Now let us dig down into each part and let's see how they functions. Starting from the basement layer. Basement layer actually separates the insect's integument from the insect blood cavity, which is otherwise called as the hemocell. Then it is on the basement membrane our epidermis sits. The layer of cells, the basement layers, it will be formed on which our epidermis is there. So this is the function of the basement membrane. Next, coming to our epidermis. The major role of the epidermis or the unicellular layer is to produce a cuticle, and During molting, we will be talking a lot about molting in the upcoming classes. During molting, the older cuticle will be absorbed by these epidermis cells. And the next thing is that when the insect is injured or by any means of damage happens in the external system or any external parts, the epidermis cells actually come into the rescue and to repair the damaged part. And there are also the pore canal which is going to move through the procuticle up to the epicuticle. The chemicals and the important components of epicuticle, those components are secreted in the epidermis and shifted to the epicuticle. And other than that, there are also some of the specific cells like the trichogen. The trichogen is the cell which produces the hair which is visible in the outside of the integument. You can see in insects there are numerous hairs that is present in the integument of the insect, which is produced by the cells which is called as trichogen cells, which is located in the epidermis. So there are two kind of cell. The trichogen cell produces the hair which is otherwise known as a seta, and the saccade which is forming or the supporting the trichogen cell is called as a taumogen cell. And the other glands, like there are dermal glands which is producing the chemicals for the, especially for the communication with the other insect. There are also the production of some of the important components are released through the pore canals which is secreted by the dermal glands located in the epidermis. Next we are moving on to cuticle. Cuticle is divided into three sublayers, starting from the endocuticle, exocuticle and the epicuticle. If we see the endocuticle, it is the thicker part of the cuticle which is consisting more amount of chitin comparing it with the exocuticle, and it is having the protein called arthropodin, and in case of the exocuticle it is the thinner layer as comparing with the endocuticle, but it is having the protein that is called as it is also having chitin, and along with that the protein subunits are there which is called as the sclerostin. Exocuticle is comparatively rigid and sclerotized than the endocuticle. Endocuticle is colorless and the exocuticle is darker in color. There is a reason for that. When the production of the procuticle happens, it is dividing into two layers, that is exocuticle which is in the outside. The sclerotization happens and the outer part will turn into rigid, and the inside part in which the sclerotization will not happen, they will be soft in appearance. So the outside part which makes them as a rigid is the combination of the protein and quinone. The protein, the sclerostin itself is a stronger protein, while we are comparing with the arthropodin which is not that stronger like the sclerostin. And the quinone which makes the combination in between the protein molecules, that is the sclerostin in the exocuticle, which makes them stronger. The exocuticle becomes the rigid. The formation of these interlink between the quinone and the protein molecule is called as a sclerotization. Whereas in the endocuticle, the arthropodin protein molecules will not undergo the quinone sclerotization, the quinone and protein combination. So it is not that much rigid as we are comparing with the exocuticle. And if we see the thickness of various exocuticle and endocuticle layers, it differs from species to species. If we see the example of beetles, it will be having the stronger exocuticle, whereas if we see some of the soft-bodied insects like aphids, thrips or whitefly, they will not be having that much rigid exocuticle as comparing with the beetles. And also if we see in the same insect, the same species itself, in the same insect itself, the variation of the exocuticle will be there. As in the introduction class itself, we have discussed about the insects legs and the insects other parts where the chitin will be absent or where the sclerotization will not be present, because as we already told that the joints of the insect legs and the part which have to move, in that place the exoskeleton will be thinner in appearance. In that place the sclerotization will not happen, so the exocuticle will not present there, or it will be thinner in appearance as comparing with the other parts. Like in the joints the protein present will be the elastin instead of the sclerostin. In the other parts like the hardened areas like mandibles of insects, in that area the sclerostin will not present. instead of that the elastin protein will be present. If the elastin protein is present, the chitin will not get into the sclerotization. In the joint, the flexibility is maintained by the protein elastin. The name of the protein itself suggests that it is flexible and it can move the joints. And in order to allow the insects to move its leg freely, the insects are divided into different parts, and even the legs of them are joined into different segments. That's why it is coming under the phylum Arthropoda. Arthro means joined, the poda means leg. This endocuticle and exocuticle, they put together, as I already told, they are called as a procuticle. And the next cuticle layer is called as the epicuticle, which will not have the chitin like other layers of the cuticle. It will be having the wax particles or the cement layers. The epicuticle itself, it is divided into different layers. Epicuticle is comparatively thinner in appearance while we are comparing with the other cuticle layers, and the deposition of these epicutical compounds, it happens through the pore canals, as we are already discussed. And there are three major layers, which is the cement layer and the wax layer, and followed by the cuticle layer. The topmost layer of any insect is called as a cement layer, which actually protects the wax layer which is below the cement layer, which actually protects the insects from the desiccation or the water loss is prevented by the wax layer. And followed by that, the deepmost layer of the epicuticle is called as a cuticulin, which separates the other cuticle from the epicuticle, which is made up of the lipids and proteins. It is a lipoprotein layer. Now let us see the composition of the cuticles. When we see the cuticle, it consists of two things, that is chitin and the other proteins. Chitin, it is the main constituent of the cuticle, and it consists of the nitrogenous polysaccharide, which is called as the polymer of N-acetyl glucosamine, which is produced from the blood sugar, the insect blood sugar, which is called as a trehalose. Trehalose typically is made up of two glucose molecules. The chitin is water insoluble but soluble in some of the dilute acids and the alkalines. When we take the dry weight of the whole cuticle, the chitin will be accounting for 25 to 60% of the whole weight. And the next one is the protein, which will be forming 25 to 37% of the whole cuticle, which consists of three major proteins. The arthrophodin, as we already discussed, which will be present in the endocuticle, and it is an untanned protein. It is like the tanning means the tanning of the skin. After the tanning of skin, we will make the belt, right? Just like that, the untanned protein, which will be water soluble in nature, but when the protein is tanned, like if we take the example of sclerostin, it is the tanned protein which is the exocuticle, and after the tanning happens, it will be stronger and it is not water soluble like the arthrophodin. And the next protein is the resilin, which is the elastic protein responsible for the flexibility of the wing sclerites. So far we have discussed about the insect's exoskeleton. There is also another skeleton which is known as the endoskeleton. The cuticular ingrowth of our exoskeleton is known as endoskeleton, which facilitate the muscle attachment for the organs that is inside the insect body. Like we are having our bones in which our muscles are attached, and all the organelles are arranged with the help of the bones. So this is how the endoskeleton of insects also works. The muscles of the major organs and the other systems are attached with the insect's endoskeleton, which provides the space for the attachment of muscles. There are two kinds of endoskeletons. If the cuticular growth is inward by the halo structure, means it will be having the gap inside, it is called as the apodeem. And if the cuticular ingrowth is rigid, like the straight inward growth without any halo space in between, it is called as apophysis. If you take the example of apodeem, it is the tentorium of the insect head. If you see in the insect head, there are patches of the cuticular ingrowth. So attachment of muscles of various parts of head is helped by the tentorium or otherwise our endoskeleton. Apodemes, they are visible externally by the narrow grooves. We can see them or we can locate the apodemes in their appearance of groove-like structure. And in case of the apophysis, as it is a solid imagination, we cannot see the groove-like the apodeme. We can see the pin-like tiny pit-like structures externally. And there are also the cuticular appendages, the outgrowths of the body wall, and which is arising from the epidermal cells of the insect's integument, are called as the cuticular appendages. For example, cetas. Cetas are otherwise called as the macrotracheas. They are the large size hairs arising from the epidermis, which is produced by the single enlarged cell of trichogen. We have already discussed about trichogen, which is the seta producing cell which is located in the epidermis of the integument. And the saccade forming or the protection of the trichogen cell is made by the tarmogen cell. These hair-like growth, they are having different roles like sensing the external environment and so on. And the study of these seta, especially the body hairs, is known as the chetotaxy. Like the cuticular appendages, there are also other extensions from the cuticle area, which is called as cuticular processes. These are the process of the external surface of the cuticle which do not have the membranous articulation, and therefore they are readily separable from the cuticular appendages. In order for any appendages to move, it needs the cellular articulation, or otherwise known as the attachment with any living part of the organ. As the cuticle is the non-living part, the only living part in the insect integument is epidermis. So any appendage that is located in the outside of the integument, it must have the cellular articulation in order to move. Like our seta, or otherwise known as macrotrachea, it is having the cellular articulation. But in case of the other cuticular processes, they do not have the membranous articulation, so they cannot move. For example, we are having the microtrachea, which is the fixed hair, which is a tiny non-cellular minute hair-like structures found on Macroptera, which is the order of scorpion flies, and the Diptera, which is the order of common flies, which resembles like the clothing hairs. So these microtrachea, they cannot move themselves. We can see them here like a very tiny hair growth. They do not have the membranous articulation, so they cannot move. And there are also multicellular outgrowths like the spines. They are thorn-like growth, especially in case of the plant hoppers. We can see the extension in their head, which is actually a spine which cannot move themselves, as they do not have the membranous articulation. In case of grasshoppers' legs, we can see there are multiple spines located which is not movable. And in case of spur, which is also multicellular appendage, but it can move, as it is having the membranous articulation. So in cuticular appendages, there are two kinds, which is non-cellular and cellular appendages. In non-cellular appendages, it do not possess the epidermal association, so they do not move, and they are rigidly attached and they do not move. And examples for the non-cellular cuticular appendages are the minute hairs and thorns. Minute hairs are otherwise known as the microtrachea. If we see the cellular cuticular appendages, these cellular cuticular appendages, they possess the epidermal association, which means they can move. In the cellular cuticular appendages also there are two kinds, unicellular and the multicellular. Unicellular cuticular appendages are made by single cells. Examples for them are like the clothing hairs or the plumose hairs of the honeybees, as we can see the hairs of the honeybees here. And there are also bristles of the flies, and other examples are the scales, which is the flattened outgrowth of the body wall, especially in case of the moths and butterflies, especially in their wings. And there are also glandular setas of the caterpillar, some of which are known to produce the poisons. As we already told, there are also the sensory setas, their hairs which is functioning as sensing the external environment. And in case of multicellular outgrowths, the movable one is spur and the immovable one is spine. So this is about the cuticular appendages. As we already discussed that the insect's epidermis is having different kinds of cells for the different purposes, like the tarmogen and trichogen. And it is also having the dermal glands, which produces various compounds like wax gland in scales, honeybees and mealybugs, and the lac glands in the lac insect, which produce the lac, the commercial product outside using these dermal glands. And some of the bugs, they use their repugnatorial glands in order to scare away their enemies. These repugnatorial glands are otherwise known as scent glands, which produces the offensive smell when it is excreted outside. Like in case of the bugs, they secrete the offensive smell when it is disturbed by any enemies of them, or even if we touch them also, they produce the repugnatorial secretions in order to scare us away. And there are also the PGTL glands. In case of beetles, they produce the offensive chemical using the terminal segment of their abdomen, which is known as the PGTL area, in which the PGTL gland is located, which secretes the offensive smell when they are disturbed. And there are also the scent glands, which is otherwise known as the androconia, which is located in some of the male butterflies, which is used to attract their female partners. And there is also hypodermal poisonous glands in case of some of the slug caterpillars. When we touch them, they produce the poison using this hypodermal poisonous glands. So overall, if you see the function of the body wall, first one, they provide the protection for the insects, but it is not only that, they provide space for the muscle attachment for the other organs inside. And the wax glands, which is located in the insect's integument, they prevent the water desiccation. And this body wall also serves as a base for the external organs like setae, scales. They are located in the epidermis, which is provided by the insect's integument. And this integument also serves as a base for sensing the external environment. Using the integument, only insects sense the external environment. And it provides lining for the organs like the tracheal system and in some parts of the alimentary canal also, in order to provide the rigidity or the strength to the organ. And the waste products are not only disposed using their excretory system, but also they use the integument in order to store their waste, or the metabolic waste are stored in the integument in some insects. Like in the holometabolous insects, the waste of their pupal stage is excreted as the meconium. Now let us move on to the question part.
Question number 1. Amount of chitin will be more in endocuticle, exocuticle, epicuticle, or none of the above. Most rigid part of integument is. Question number 3 is cellular layer of integument is endocuticle, exocuticle, epicuticle, or epidermis. Question number 4 is topmost layer of insect exoskeleton is wax layer, exocuticle, endocuticle, or cement layer. Question number 5 is match the following. Question number 6 is which statement is correct? Spur is movable and spine is immovable. Microtrachea is movable and macrotrachea is immovable. And the question number 7 is protein present in the exocuticle is arthropodin, sclerostin, resilin, or none of the above. Comment your right answers below and see you in the next class, guys. Until then, bye bye.